Good morning, this is your Stats Sensei, Mr. Spensei, and this is assignment pre-quiz 3B3 geometric and binomial distributions. This is a long set, so we're going to break this into two videos. This will be problems 1 through 10. So in a rural town, 70% of residents ages 18 to 24 vote in local elections. That 70% is really important. This right here, that 70% represents our probability. So our probability is 70 over 100, which is 0.70. So we have a probability of 0.70. Voting participation is independent for each individual, and the percentage remains constant. So uh, those are things that are required to be a Bernoulli, so it could be their geometric binomial. A group of 40. Okay, that means we have a total number of 40. That's going to be important. So our sample size is no larger than 40. Was selected to study their voting behavior. Additionally, researchers want to know when the first voter is found in a sequential survey of individuals. First question, what is the probability that the first voter is found among the first five surveyed? That word first lets me know that, hey, it could be first, second, third, fourth, or fifth. It could be any of those, and we're looking for the first. So this tells me that we're looking for a geo, and it says among the first five. So that could be the zero, the one, the two, the three, the four, or five. And in fact, it could be, can't be zero because it has to be found. That'd be, we didn't find it. The first person, the second person, or the third person, or the fourth, or the fifth. So that means we have a one plus two plus three. So the probability of one plus the probability of two plus the probability of three. So there's our number line. Now, why did we have infinity? Anytime you have a geometric, it goes to infinity. Now, in this case, we're only looking for the first five. So it's the probability that 1 is less than x is less than or equal to 5. It could be the first one, etc. Now, this is the way I'm going to plug it into the calculator, and I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. So with the calculator, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press the math button, and I'm going to scroll all the way down to number 0. And it says summation, and I press enter. Then I'm going to press the XTON button, and our first number is 1, so we can type in 1, arrow up, and our last number we circled was 5, so that's that. Oops, 5. Arrow over. Now, I said it was a geometric, so second var's geometric, and it's a PDF. Press enter. Our probability was 70 divided by 100, or 0.70. Whenever we're using the summation key, if we're using the summation key, this will always be an X. So we press the XTON button, and that's what we're pasting in, and that's what's going here, 1 to 5, pasting. And we end up getting 0.99757. Okay, so that's our answer. Now, our formula for geometric is the 1 minus P to the n minus 1 times P to the first. So that's what we have, 1 minus P. And in this case, our lowest value was 1. So that 1 minus 1, this came straight from here. And then we have our P of 0.7. Then the last one was 1 minus 7 again, but that 5 went there. Okay? So basically, our lowest value and our highest value. And basically, you can see that right here. There's our lowest value, and here's our highest value. All right, continuing on. Number 2, what's the probability that exactly 30 residents vote? And it probably would have been helpful to say 30 residents out of the 40. So we could have 0 vote, 1 vote, dot, 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 29, 30, 31, dot, 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 all the way to 40. But we want exactly that. We're not looking for the first. We're looking out of the group of 40. Since we're looking out of the group of 40, this tells me, oh, we have a fixed number here no more than 40, the total 40. So this tells me this is a binomial. We're not looking for the first. And the fact that we're only looking for an exact value tells me this is going to be a singular value. So we want the probability that x equals 31. So there's our number line that I basically sketched out. And we said probability of x equals 30. And since it's a singular value, it's a PDF, we don't use a summation. There's no summation because we're only circling one value. Remember, we use a summation if we're using multiple values. So in this case, we're not. So we're just going to go drop that in. Second vars. It's a binomial because we have a group of 30, and we're going to scroll all the way down to the letter A, binomial PDF. Trials is 40. P in this case is still the 70%. And our X value in this case was, well, we wanted 30 residents. So we're going to type in 30, and we get 0.1128, and we just truncate. So 0.1128. Now, the binomial, and I should have had this up here for the geometric, the binomial, the formula is n choose x, p to the x, 1 minus p into the x. Well, this is n, that's 40. So that's 40 choose. How many do we want? 30. Our probability is 0.7. So 0.70 to the 30. Then this is 1 minus 0.7. And this 10 right here comes from 40 minus 30 equaling the 10. So this minus this gives me that value. And that's where we get the 0.1128 that we got on the calculator already. All right, moving on to number 3. What is the probability of the first? Oh, first must be a geometric. All right. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to infinity, but it's found on the third person, not among. We're only circling a singular value. So this tells me, the first tells me this is a geo, but we're only looking for a singular value. So the geometric is 1 minus p to the n minus 1 times p, where p is the probability and n is the number of trials. In this case, our number of trials happens to be 3. So I'm only circling one value. So when it comes to the summation, no summation because we're only circling one value. Remember, if you're circling one value, no summation. If you're circling multiple values, then you use a summation. So in this case, our number line is going to be just what we have here. So I'll show that to you. And once again, remember, geometric always goes to infinity. But we're only looking for one value. This is the probability that x equals 3. And on the calculator, we're going to go, well, what are we going to press? We're going to press second vars, scroll all the way down to geometric PDF. Our probability is 70 divided by 100, or just 0.7. Our x value, we want to find it on the third one. And we get 0.063. Okay, so we get 0.063. That's our answer. But how do we show our work? Well, 1 minus 0.7, and then 3 minus 1, and then 0.7. Now, please remember that 3 minus 1, or that 3, comes from this. Okay? And as we got on the calculator, 0.063. Moving on to number 4. Calculate the mean standard deviation for the number of residents who vote. Okay. Now, they didn't say anything about first. So this means that they want to know out of the 40. So from our group of 40, so this is from the group of 40. So since it's from the group of 40, from the group, this makes this a binomial. So we're going to look for the expected value of a binomial. Well, the expected value of the binomial is NP. So in this case, the expected value NP, in this case, is going to be, well, what was our sample size? 40. So the expected value is 40 times our probability, and our probability is still 0.7. So we're going to write that down. 40 times 0.7 is 28. And I'll just show you on the calculator. I'm sure you believe me on that. But there it is, 28. Now the standard deviation has a little bit uglier formula. NPQ or NP times 1 minus P. Well, P again is our probability, N is our group size. So 40 times 0.7 times 1 minus 0.7, and we take the square root of that. Now you can use the square root button. I personally mess that up all the time. So I go 40 parentheses 0.7 close parentheses, then parentheses 1 minus 0.7, and I get this value. Well, that's not my answer because I haven't taken the square root. To take the square root, I put the little caret button and 0.5, and there it is, 0.28982. Once again, truncate at 4 decimal places. Okay, number 5. What is the probability that the first voter is not found until after the 6th person? Okay, so I see the word first. This makes it a geo. Now, in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ... all the way to infinity. It's not found till after the 6th person. So that's my number line, 7 to infinity. Our calculator won't run to infinity. So if you circle infinity, you're going to have to do 1 minus, and anytime we have multiple values, you have to use the summation. So 1 minus the summation of everything else. Well, what's everything else? Well, 1 minus x equals 1, because that's this part, to 6. All right? So let's see what we have here on our answer sheet. Sure enough, 7 to infinity, 1 minus the probability of, well, why did you do that? Well, because we said we wanted to subtract out what we didn't want. What don't we want? 1 less than 6. So 1 to 6, our lowest and our highest, because we want to leave. We're subtracting this part out, so we're left with this. So let's run this through the calculator and see how this works. We're going to go 1 minus, press the math button because I need that summation key. Scroll down to number 0, summation. We press the X button. We're subtracting out 1 to 6, so 1, arrow up to 6. Second vars, geometric PDF, probabilities 0.7, X value. Anytime you use a summation, it's X. And we end up getting this number, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. 7.29 e to the negative 4. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So showing my work, how am I going to show my work? Well, that's a really good question. So first off, this is the part that we're subtracting out. We know our probability is 0.7. That hasn't changed. Well, what's our lowest value? Our lowest value is 1. And what was our highest value? Our highest value happened to be 6. And that's where that comes from. Because remember, the geometric formula is 1 minus the probability to the n minus 1. Well, n in this case is 1. And then over here, n is 6. So our lowest value went here, and then our highest value went there, and we just plugged our probabilities in. Now, technically, we're going all the way. We're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're doing this for each one of those, but that shows too much work. So we just do the lowest one and the highest one and call it good. Now, I told you we would deal with the 7.29 e to the negative 4th. Whatever that is, I'm going to have to go 1 loop, 2 loop, 3 loops, 4 loops, and fill them in with zeros. Well, that means I have 1 0, 2 0, and 3 zeros. Okay, so 3 zeros in front. So I just like to think of and go, whatever that number is, decrease it by 1, and it's how many zeros go in front. Okay? All right. That was number 5. Moving on. Number 6. What's the probability that at least 25 residents vote. Okay, so we're now talking about out of the group of 40, what's the probability that at least 25 residents vote? So in this case, we could have 0 vote, 1 vote, 2 vote, dot, 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 24, 25, 26, dot, 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 all the way to 40. At least 25 means we have that entire group. Okay, I have more than one value circled and I'm out of the group. So the fact that it's out of a group tells me it's a binomial because I'm not looking for the first. It's a binomial out of the group of 40 and I have multiple values, which means I'm going to have to use a summation on this. So let's look at what we have. There's our number line, 25 to 40. That's what we're interested in. My lowest value is 25. So 25 is less than X is less than or equal to 40. And how do I plug this into the calculator? Because we want to get that answer. We're going to go second vars. Oh, excuse me. First off, multiple values. So I have to do a summation. So I'm going to press the math button, scroll down to 0. There's summation. And my lowest value in this case is 25. So X equals 25. My highest value circled is 40. Arrow over. Second vars. Binomial PDF. Trials is 40. Probability 70 divided by 100 or 0.70. And anytime we use the summation key, we're using the X button. So in this case, we get 0.8848. And once again, our binomial formula. N choose X. All right. N choose the X lower, probability of X lower, 1 minus the probability of N minus the X lower, and this is X higher. So the L's for lower, the X is high. Well, notice what is our low value? Our low value in this case is 25. And look, the 25, look where it shows up. Okay. And then we have the high value. And I got something to talk about still. The high value in this case is 40. Now, the question is where did that 15 come from? Well, this came from 40 minus 25. And this 0 right here came 40 minus 40. Because 40 minus 40, this minus this gives me 0. This minus this gives me the 15. So this value, that difference goes right there. Okay? All right. Number 7. What is the probability that no more than 30 residents vote? Well, we could have 0 vote, 1 vote, 2 vote, dot, 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 30, 31, dot, 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 all the way to 40. So we're looking for this group here. But it's out of 40, and the fact that it's out of 40 tells me this is a binomial. And the fact that I have more than one value tells me that I'm going to have to use the summation keys. All right? So here's what my number line looks like. And that means these are my probability statements. The probability that it's 0, less than or equal to X, less than or equal to 30. So we have X equals 30, 0 to 30. And here's the way you do that on a calculator. First off, summation. We start with that. We press the math button, scroll all the way down to number 0 and get summation. We press the XTON button to 0, and then we go to 30. The next thing we're going to do is go second vars, binomial, PDF, trials again is 40. Our probability hasn't changed. And anytime we have a summation, if we have the summation, we have to have the X. So we press the XTON button, and we get 0.8040. Once again, where did this come from? Our binomial. N of our lower, N of our higher. Please remember. 0. Oh, that was my lowest value in that. That was my lowest value. So this is my lowest value. and that also went here. Then my highest value. What was my highest value? Well, my highest value we said it could be was 30. That's what I circled. That's what I wrote there. That's what I have here. So that's what goes there. And once again, this 40, where did it come from? This minus this. This is 40 minus 0. Well, where did this 10 come? Well, 40 minus 30. Okay, so we get 0.8040. All right, moving right along. Number 8. What's the probability of the first voter? So I see the word first, so I was like, oh, bing, 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 bing. This is a geo. Is found exactly on the 7th person. So it could be the first, second, third, four, five, six, seven, eight, dot, 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 all the way to infinity, but it's exactly on this. I circled one value. I know it's a GMO. I circled one value. If I circle one value, there is no summation. All right. So let's go look and see what we have for a number line. Once again, we have it to infinity. We have specifically one value. This is what we're plugging in the calculator. We're going to go second vars, geometric PDF, probability is 0.7, X value, we want exactly the 7th one. And that's what we have. So we get this, and we'll deal with that in just a moment, because remember, we're going to have to move the decimal. But we're going to plug in, and first off, we're going to look at our geometric equation. Our geometric PDF is 1 minus the probability, and then however many we had. In this case, it was 7, so 7 minus 1. And guess what? There's that 7. There's that 7 minus 1. So in this case, we got this value on the calculator. That means I need 4 decimal places, which means I move this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3 zeros. So whatever that number is, I can decrease it by 1, and that's how many zeros go in front. Or if you want to think of it this way, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? All right. Number 9. Define the variable of interest for both the geometric and for both the binomial and geometric. Well, what do we care about? We care about the number of voters. All right, let X equal the number of voters in age 18 and 20 in a rural town, 18 to 24 in a rural town, who, I'm going to add this even though it's not specifically required, who actually vote. All right, the number of people who actually vote. I know that's what was implied, but just clarify that that's what we're curious about. All right, the next one. What's the probability that all 40 vote? Well, we can have 0 vote, 1 vote, 2 vote, dot, 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 39 vote, up to 40. How many values did I circle? 1. All right, out of the total group. So the fact that we took it out of the total number of 40, this makes this a binomial. I only circled one value, so guess what? No summation. All right, so this is going to be a straight up binomial PDF, and there's my number line. And we're going to plug this in a calculator, and we're going to go second vars, binomial PDF. Our group is 40, our probability is 0.7, and we want specifically exactly 40. And we get 7, so that means we're going to have 6 zeros. All right? Because essentially we have, I'm going to write this out. Well, let's talk about, let's do that now. We have 6.3668 e to the negative 7. So that means I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. Because remember, it's always one less. But we only go 4 decimal places. That's why we say it's approximately 0. It's not really 0, but it's close to 0. Okay. Now, please remember, our formula. N choose X. X is the value that we circled. All right. And notice it shows up here, 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 and that's X. This 40 is our group size. All right, I know that was fast and that was a lot of information. I sure hoped it helped. Look forward to seeing you on the next one when I do 11 through 20. Thanks for watching.